You can also overseed a lawn, an existing lawn, to make it more hardy. So this is my mother's front lawn here. That's my neighbor's. And they're both south-facing slopes on pretty rocky ground in North Calgary. And my neighbor was so kind, she used weed and feed for years. And when I moved in, it's the only place I could live when I was really sick, she stopped using it. But it really depleted the soil, so her grass didn't look so good. And on my parents', we overseeded it. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. And I'd also sprayed it with compost tea. So you can just see how much greener it is and lusher already, just one time. And this is 3 years later, that my mother's front lawn. I can't do the comparison photos anymore because my neighbor asked us to do her lawn a few times. Our lawn still looks better, but I can't do the great photos anymore. So how you overseed, I'll go through that, is you put a thin layer of compost, so 1/2 inch thick, 1 centimeter thick, and we spread it with a wheelbarrow. We get it delivered, and then we rake it out with the back of a rake, spreads it very nicely into the grass, and seed it. I like those kind of drop seeders, the grass seed. And you can buy that grass seed at Bow Point Nursery in Springbank. You might be able to get it at other places too. I know in Calgary, West Grow Seeds will sell it by the kilo. If you can't find it, get a grass mix that has the most fescues you can see. Other fescues grow taller though. If you don't want to mow it, you're best with the sheep's fescue.
Is the compost put down, is that straight from the compost? I've heard that's too strong sometimes.
It's only 1/2 inch thick, 1 centimeter thick, and in fact it really greens up the lawn. And the compost that we use for this, it's a manure-based compost, lots of good nitrogen in it. And I buy it from Western Canada Compost, so they screen it really well, so it's quite fine. Yeah, if you're putting, it's a thin layer, so it's okay. Yeah, usually the lawn is going to turn green just from the compost. So then to get a seed really mixed in with the compost, or at least a thin layer of compost over the seed, I just lightly rake it with a leaf rake afterwards. And then when to do this is now, mid-May, or even earlier, although now you can't do it, and the fall, so September. In between, it's just too hot because you have to keep the seeds moist for 3 weeks for them to germinate. And if it's in the middle of summer, they'll fry unless it's a really shady area. The easiest way to do it is late October, Halloween, before it's really snowing a lot, but after the seed's going to germinate. And then when it's springtime and you've got snow melt and the rain, it'll germinate by itself. So to really look like my mom's lawn, you have to do it maybe 3 to 4, maybe 5 times. So if you're really keen, you might be able to do that May, September, late October, or you can just do it the lazy way, the more working with nature, gardener way, just every Halloween, just do it. And it'll gradually, you'll have more sheep's fescue. And then, let's see if we have a picture, no. If, like for example, my mom's lawn, it doesn't grow as quickly, because the sheep's fescue doesn't grow as fast. We don't have to mow it as often, and we don't have to water it as much. It still has some of the Kentucky bluegrass in it, but...
So can you just put newspaper over your existing grass?
To replace it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and then it's really great if you can put 4 inches of soil. You could probably get away with 2. And use really good weed-free soil. So, for example, Bow Point Nursery in Springbank, they compost their soil, so it's not going to have weeds in it. Once in a while is a sunflower seed because a bird dropped, but yeah. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of weeds, and don't worry about it too much because they're usually annual weeds like stinkweed and such. And if you just mow, especially with a push mower, then they'll be gone next year. Any other questions about the overseeding or seeding? All right.